Hi everyone, Frank here. So I've noticed that a few people have set up their Pionex account and some have gone on and got their KYC done and they're ready to begin trading. So one of the questions that I was recently asked was if I would record a video and show if I were setting up a grid bot for the very first time, kind of walk through the steps of how I would do that. So that's what this video is going to show. Now, I don't have live funds in my account, so I can't launch a grid bot because I have all of my funds set up, already tied up in grid bots that are live and running, but we'll walk through the process. So the first thing you need to do is you got to determine what you're going to trade. And if you recall from my original video, now it may be different in the global exchange, the .com exchange versus the .us. But if you're in the .us, as I told you, I would only trade in USD if I am trading Bitcoin because there is quite a bit of volume. But if I'm going to trade in any of the other altcoins, I would use USDT because they're somehow tied or linked in with Binance and Huobi for liquidity. And if you'll look at the volume in USD and USDT, you will see that there's quite a bit more volume traded in the altcoins in USDT. So you stand a much better chance of getting all of your limit orders that are placed for you when you launch the grid bot. They will probably, stand a better chance of getting all those to clear at the actual price that it's set at. So let's assume you need to get funds in your account. I mean, the easiest way to do it if you already have crypto is to send it or deposit it into Pionex and then exchange it for USDT. So say you send Bitcoin in, once the Bitcoin has arrived, there's two ways you can exchange it for USDT. Let's just assume we are going to trade in the USDT Doge coin. That's what we've decided we're going to trade. And that's the first thing you've got to do is decide which pair you're going to trade. So we're just going to assume for this video, we're going to trade Doge USDT. And we'll kind of walk through the steps. There's two things that you can do to get your Bitcoin into USDT because this is your base currency. The currency or the coin that's on the right of the slash here, is your base currency. So you've got to have enough base currency for whatever you want to trade. So if you want to trade, $100 or $200, you got to have, a couple $100 of USDT, whatever you're wanting to launch in this investment. So the easiest way to do that, if you don't know how to make a trade on the exchange, a manual trade, you can do that with a market order or a limit order. In Pionex, it's simple. You can do a swap, and here you just simply put the amount of, and in this case, we're going to do BTC to USDT. You'd put the amount of BTC that you have. You can actually just click the max button here. I have none, but I have no BTC in my account. But you can, put that amount in here, and it tells you how much USDT you would get. Hit the swap button, and it will execute a market order for you on the exchange, and then you will have your USDT to trade. So now let's go back to the trade button here. We're in Doge. Let's open up the grid bot. I always use custom. I don't use the AI settings. You can kind of use those to look at back testing, to look at the volatility number if you want to. You can see that on a 30-day BTC or Dogecoin USD has a 56.76 volatility, which means in the last 30 days it hasn't really been that volatile. It was pretty volatile if you go back past that. If you see it go to 180 days, it has been quite high and quite low, but it's been a little bit more stable in the past month. And actually, it's been more volatile in the past 7 days than it has been in the past 30 days. So you can kind of do a little bit of research there, but I always just kind of go to custom. And if I am setting up a grid bot for the first time, I would probably be a little more on the conservative side. We know that cryptos have kind of fallen pretty low to in some cases as low as they've been in a couple of years, and they've made a little bit of a bounce back. So you kind of know that, so you kind of do your research on what you're going to trade. But I would go to the weekly tab, change it. I had it in hourly. I would change it to weekly, and then you just kind of you need to kind of get your scroll it down so you can get it kind of in the page here. And I would look at maybe the past 6 months. So we're at February. 6 months takes us back to July. So we can see this is, I think that's pretty conservative. So you could get even more conservative and go back and look at the high and low for the past year, maybe for the past 3 months. But if I'm just starting out, I think 6 months would be a good place to start. So we can see that right here back in September, and these are weekly charts. So back in September, we were somewhere around just under 6 cents. So we may want to start our bot at 6 cents on the lower limit. We can see that it spiked up as high as 14 cents, but as far as a weekly close, it closed at like 11.8 cents. So let's just kind of start with that. So we're just going to gotta go with that. You can just kind of use your intuition here to determine how big a gap. As long as the price stays within this lower and upper limit, you're trading. If it goes above it, well, it's not that big a deal because you're in all cash at that point. If it goes below it, then obviously you're in all Dogecoin. So I think a good rule of thumb is you're really not too concerned as long as you're trading in a coin that you don't mind holding. So if the price was to fall and you don't want to trade in something that you don't like. You kind of want to really pick a coin that you like. And Doge is for me, I don't mind it. I've had some for several years. I got some in an external wallet. It's mainstream enough with people like Elon Musk and Mark Cuban and others that are really high on the token. I don't mind holding it because it stays in the news quite a bit. And a lot of people that are just getting started, they hold a lot of Doge. Even my son, which is into crypto, he has some Dogecoin. So we've done our research. We've decided we're going to go with this range: a lower limit of 6 cents, an upper limit of, we can kind of round that off and just say we're going to go 12 cents. So we've got a 6 cent range, which is pretty high. That covers in the last 6 months. That covers the low and the high of where the token has been. I always try to put in my dollar amount here that I'm going to trade before I do my grids. So let's just say we're going to do $250, and it will tell you here. Now I didn't have enough funds in here, so it wouldn't really show. But if you had enough funds in here above the minimum, and once you put the grids in, it will tell you what the minimum amount. There is no maximum. You can always have as large a number as you want to trade, but depending on how you have the upper and lower limit set and how many grids in, you'll have a minimum. But I've seen some of these as low as $8, $9, $7, $8, $9. So you're probably not going to have to worry too much about the bottom. And if it is, you can adjust your lower limit, your upper limit, and the number of grids, and you can see that it will tell you, now you have enough funds to trade. And in my case, I don't have enough funds because I don't really have any. I've got less than, I got 2,000 of 1 penny of USDT in my account. So we're going to put 250 in because it will work here. It just won't allow me to launch the bot. So let's start out with saying we're just going to throw 100 grids in and see what that does. So 100 grids was 0.5, which is good because that's kind of where I wanted to do it. Now, there's two ways you can set this up: arithmetic, and the range is going to vary. It's going to vary if you put it on this setting right here. As you can see, depending on if the price is trading at the higher or the lower limit, it's going to change how much how much you're earning. And the reason if you do that is because when it does that, it's going to trade the exact amount of crypto at each transaction, the exact amount of USDT and crypto at each transaction. But if you set it on geometric, then I like that because you're going to make the exact amount of profit at every trade. So just say if we put, you can see the most you can put in there with this limit, the most you can do is 347 grids. Don't want to do, if you put 347 grids in, then you're making 0.0005% and you're paying a 0.10% fee. That doesn't make a lot of sense. You would be trading, you'd make probably 1,000 of trades a day, but you're only making fractions of a penny each time you trade. So you really want to I think a good rule of thumb is at least 0.5%. And we can play around with that. Like I said, we put in 150, you can see it's 0.27. We know that because it just happened. If I put in 100 grids, then we're right at 0.5%. If you want to make 1% a trade, then you can kind of play with this to get it to 1%, 1%. Let's see what that would be. Oh, somewhere around here. Looks like about 58, 59, 59. So say we've decided now we want to make 1% of profit per trade on a $250, and that's 59 grids. So if you do your math, we're only making, what is that? Whatever 59 will divide into 250, roughly $4, $5. So roughly between $4.50, $5 per trade is what we're going to be trading. And you'll make 1% on that. So you would make about 4 cents each time you make a completed trade. So that's the way I would set this up if I was just getting started. You can always set a trigger price. I don't use that. I don't use a stop loss or a close bot. The only way you'd really want to close a bot is if, once it hit a certain dollar amount, you're at 12 cents. So if it went up to 12 cents, and you didn't want to risk that it spiked up to that and then fell back down to 9 cents while you were sleeping, you want to get all your profit, then you could probably put in, 12 cents here. It wouldn't make sense to put a stop loss that was below your upper limit. So maybe you want to do that just to conserve your profits. And if you did that and it closed your bot out and then it did fall while you were sleeping back to 9 cents, that would be a very smart move because you could restart it. In other words, you wouldn't be rebuying all the way back down to 9 cents. So anyhow, that should give you a good kind of starting point for creating a grid bot. If you have any specific questions, ask me. I'll try to answer them in video, or we can get on a call together and kind of walk through it while we're on a Zoom in the back office. So I hope that helps, and I hope you found this information informative. Again, just be conservative. My advice would be conservative on your first bot. Watch it and learn how it works. That's the way that I've learned how all of the different bots that I've used over the last 3 years, 2 or 3 years. It's kind of hard until you watch videos, but until you actually do it yourself and watch the price go up and down and see exactly how it works, it's easier to kind of learn everything on the fly as it's working. So choose a dollar amount that's small that you don't mind risking and just play around with it, and you will learn as you see how the functionality, what happens when the price goes up, what happens when the price goes down, seeing everything that's going on with the bot. Like I said, this is what I like about it right here. This is my live bot that I have right now. And this is what you can kind of see. This is your actual grid profit, but this is your total profit right here, which is basically just this minus this is this, and annualized, if nothing changed and it just stayed as it is right now, I would make 71.5% on my total investment over 12 months, which is very good considering I'm trading in probably the most stable coin right now, which is Bitcoin. But I'm trying something different here. We'll see how it proves out over 3 to 4 months. We'll see if I can maintain this. We kind of had a good run up. I want to see what happens once we have a pretty sizable run down, and am I able to recover and stay above 50% doing what I'm doing. So it's kind of an experiment that I'm going through right now because of the functionality we have here. And all the other bots that I had, I could not adjust the price range, and I could not add funds to a live bot. Once I set it up, it was pretty much static. I couldn't do anything with it. That's what I like about this one, is it has all kinds of functionality that I've been messing around with for the past 7-8 weeks, trying to learn how to use these bots. And so this is something that I've been wanting to try for a while, but I could not do with the other bots that I had. So we're going to see what happens, and I'll keep you updated on this probably 2 or 3 months out, and hopefully I'm still making above 50% once we have a good dip down and kind of, price kind of stabilizes after that. We'll see where I'm at. Anyhow, I'm going to close this video. I hope that helps. And again, any questions, just ask me. I'll be happy to make a video and hopefully help you through it. Take care.